There we go. Okay. It is December 16th, 2023, coming to the end of a year. Big, momentous time in the world. It has been several years of feeling like I keep saying that every time we start class, like, ooh, what a time in the world. What a time in the world. This practice, not specifically today's practice, but maybe broadly speaking, the practice of yoga and the applied polyvagal theory in yoga or vagus nerve yoga, as we explore it here, has been just such a predictable homecoming for me every single time I get on the mat. I know that I can go from whatever state I might be feeling, if it's stressed, if it's worry, if it's grief, if it's heaviness, if it's ungroundedness, that I come into a place of just a greater sense of ease, connection, calm every single time. And because I know that it does that for me, I'm not going to predict what's going to happen for you, but I really deeply trust in the practice itself, in that there is a power to returning again and again. I know many of you are repeat attendees of these classes, and I think that's really where the magic happens, is that the more that we come back, the more that we're kind of wiring into our nervous system and our hearts and our minds states of connection and ease, and that's a real gift. So today's theme is on the topic of belonging, belonging to ourselves, belonging to a sense of an interconnection with community, in this case, a global community of like-minded, like-hearted people that want to explore embodiment in service of health and well-being or trauma recovery, however you want to kind of orient, attending to grief, attending to suffering from a place of resource and nourishment. And I feel so deeply honored to be your guide today. I often say that our wounds don't happen in a vacuum, and they need to be healed interpersonally, because so often our wounds are interpersonal wounds, whether that's at the direct one-on-one or family system or larger systems in our world, and feeling perhaps uprooted, right? Perhaps literally uprooted by what's happening in our world. So we get to have this experience of connecting together, knowing that everything is welcome on the mat in this practice, right? Your joy and excitement and your suffering and your pain and your grief and your longing, all of it, because we cultivate the capacity to turn towards those contracted places in ourselves with greater compassion. And I believe that even if we're not all in the same room together, that we can feel the kind of fabric of compassion that a community like this holds. Even if you catch this by recording, right? And many of you have arrived here today because you've caught previous classes on recording, and you can feel that fabric come through even afterwards. So this is an invitation today to attend to the wounds that many of us carry around times when we felt like we didn't belong, when we felt exiled or on the outs, and that we can attend to that personal wound, but also know that it's a collective wound, and that there's a lot of us in so many ways that know that experience, and we see it get recapitulated in the world. We see in groups and out groups and right and wrong and all of those polarities getting recapitulated out into our world. Part of what I love about the polyvagal theory and the applied polyvagal theory in yoga is that we really learn how to move outside or beyond the reactivity of defensive states. And we practice that, and we practice that on the mat. And we practice knowing when we go into fight flight and the urge to protect, or knowing when we go into collapse and what's the point? Nothing's going to make a difference. And knowing how to attend to those nervous system states and find our way back into the sweet spot of capaciousness, of tenderness and compassion that allows us to attend to our defensiveness or our fear with effectiveness, so we don't get further stuck. I will invite you today to really be with the truth that we are here not simply to survive, but to become the creators of our lives. And whatever that means for you, but what we get to do and what we get to practice on the mat is to take intentionality and to bring intentionality into action, right? To practice it breath by breath, small micro movement by micro movement, until we really can gather that felt sense. Today being that intention of belonging, and of course you'll bring your own intentions in as well. And I'll just invite us all to hold that it takes great courage to lay down our armor, to lay down those defenses. It takes great courage. So what a courageous group we have here. Extraordinary. I'm going to read a few quotes and a poem, and then we're going to dive into our practice together. The first of these is a quote of my own, and it says, I say, "The heart of compassion relies upon knowing that our roots intertwine, that we are interconnected with each other. When I can lovingly turn toward my own suffering, when I know myself, then I am able to see you, both your pain and your phenomenal strength and courage." Next quote is from Maya Angelou. "Each one of us has lived through some devastation, some loneliness, some weather superstorm or spiritual superstorm. When we look at each other, we must say, I understand. I understand how you feel because I have been there myself. We must support each other and empathize with each other, because each of us is more alike than we are unalike." I have a quote for us from bell hooks. "I'm often struck by the dangerous narcissism fostered by spiritual rhetoric that pays so much attention to individual self-improvement and so little to the practice of love within the context of community." Food for thought. Quotes you can come back to and listen to again. I'll always put them on the YouTube channel in the comments as well, and on Facebook. So here we are, practicing in community, in service of belonging, reclaiming your own belonging to yourself, right? Remembering into your own embodiment, reclaiming parts of you that you have outcast and exiled, and the belonging that happens in community spaces where we heal because we are more than just I. There's a quote that I have in my upcoming book, and it speaks about the difference between illness and wellness, because illness starts with I and wellness starts with we. So we are doing the we. Yeah, that was right. I got that, Tracy. It's like, oh, yeah. All right. Here's our poem. And this poem is by Rosemary Watola Tromer. I have shared her poems in previous classes. This one is called Belonging. And if it's true, we are all alone, we are alone together. The way blades of grass are alone, but exist as a field. Sometimes I feel it. The green fuse that ignites us, the wild thrum that unites us, an inner hum that reminds us of our shared humanity. Just as 35 trillion red blood cells join in one body to become one blood, just as 136,000 notes make up one symphony. Alone as we are, our small voices weave into the one big conversation. Our actions are essential to the one infinite story of what it is to be alive. When we feel alone, we belong to the grand communion of those who sometimes feel alone. We are the dust that hopes, a rising of dust, a thrill of dust, the dust that dances in the light with all other dust, the dust that makes the world. Okay. I'm going to move on to my mat. If you are joining for the movement portion of the practice, I invite you to find your way onto your sacred magic carpet. Arriving again. I invite you to take a moment and to rub palms together. Let's get a little bit of warmth, especially if you're in a place where it's chilly right now. It's chilly a bit here. Getting a little bit of warmth. And then slowing that down, slowing that movement of hand to hand, palm to palm down, so you can really sense and feel the connection of your very own hands, giving and receiving. And then if you'd like, bringing that connection to your face, just sweeping movements across your forehead, your cheeks. Maybe along your hairline, that one can feel really good, like the little scalp massage. You might place one finger in front of your ears and the other finger, or one behind and fingers in front, however you want to do this, but just a little massage around your jaw, front and back of your ears. You can open and close your jaw. Stick out your tongue, scrunch up your face. Maybe a little bit of your massage around your earlobes. You can roll your earlobes in or roll them out. You can place your fingers inside of the ear and just kind of drag down a little bit. Ah. Again, open and close your jaw. Maybe a little massage of the tragus, that little area of cartilage in front of your ears. Just rolling that between thumb and forefinger. And then sliding hands to opposite shoulders and a little self-havening down your arms. Good. And then from here, I'll invite you to find just a little bit of movement of your spine, like you're walking on your sits bones and you're just going to go kind of sidewinder here a little bit, like a snake or some sea creature, sliding between left and right sits bones here, and then letting that sequence up your spine. Your arms can get into it. Good. And then we'll find a little bit of forward back movement of your spine. If you're sitting, just allowing yourself to roll back and roll forward. So now if you feel into the sits bones at the base of your pelvis, you're rolling to and fro, forward and behind. You can have your hands on your legs or knees, whatever supports you. Coming in and out of that movement. And then we'll find a circular movement going all the way around the bowl of your pelvis. Inhale forward, exhale back. You might even begin to feel the engagement of your core as we get into all of these spinal movements. So that as you inhale forward, you lengthen the spine. Exhale as you round back, contract around the abdominal muscles, and it creates a little massage for your digestive organs. Good. And then taking that in the opposite direction. And you get to choose the pace of your movement, the range of motion, the rhythm of your breath. All of these shapes get to be really fine-tuned and tailored to meet your needs of the moment. And then coming through to center. Another round of spinal movement here in a new direction. We're going to come into side bodies, and it's nice to place one hand on the mat as you lean toward that side, and then just coming in and out. Contracting through one side body, lengthening through the other. Letting it feel good. And then coming up through center, we're going to stay on that same side. So whatever side you were leaning towards, letting your ear come towards that same shoulder. And you can stay here. This is half salamander. You can choose just to stay in this shape, or you might allow your hand to support your head on that same side. If you want to add the eye movements, maybe you take your eyes all the way towards towards that contracted side, the side that the head is leaning toward. So toward that shoulder or elbow if the hand is lifted. Coming to your breath, feeling that, again, contraction through one side of your neck now and expansion on the other. And a little stretch of your eyes. And then taking your eyes only in the opposite direction. Everything else stays the same. And then eyes to center, head to center, a moment to recalibrate, receive. And side two, leaning to this side. You can have a hand on your hip, a hand on the floor. You might reach that upper arm overhead, gazing down, forward, or up. And again, feeling both into the contraction on one side body while you're simultaneously lengthening the other side body. Good. And then coming up through to center and ear to shoulder on that same side you were leaning towards. Maybe just staying like that. Maybe your hand comes for a little support here. And maybe you add the eyes reaching downward towards the corners of their sockets. And with all of these, especially the eye exercises, when we come into these vagal toning practices, if it feels effortful, back up into the less effortful place, allowing this to be really easeful, even as you give a little stretch. And then maybe just taking the eyes only to the opposite side, the upward side, corners of the sockets of your eyes. And then eyes to center, head to center, letting your hand rest, recalibrating for a moment, receiving. This time, as we receive that, I'll invite you to take a few shoulder rolls, maybe in that forward direction, forward, up, back. And then the opposite way around, lifting your shoulders up, back, and forward. Giving your self a chance just to sigh. Sound. Good. And then a little bit into the just joints of your elbows, your wrists, letting the shoulders continue to move, just feeling that whole wave of your upper body all the way around to your fingers. You can move your fingers around, your wrists can be playful. Gorgeous. And then to center. Okay. I'll invite you to take your right leg and begin to give your right foot some circles around the ankle in one direction and the other. And shin around your knee one way. These little joint rotations here and the other. Snap, crackle, pop in the joints, getting some of that excessive wind out of there. And then nice, big, wide hip circles. You can take ankle and knee in your hands if you like, take in one direction and the other way. Some of you might want to take this into a little bit of a tighter movement here, a little rock the baby. You can give your leg here, again, nice wide hold or tight hold, a little rocking side to side, getting into your right hip. And then from here, I'll invite you to take your leg around into deer pose. So knee to the inside of your left foot. And then from here, a few gentle rotations, coming in and out of a little bit of a twist. Making sure all of our heck is working. Comment came in there. Make sure you all hear me okay. Okay, good. Maybe. Sorry, just oh goodness, I'm pressing all the wrong buttons. Come back. Come back, Arielle. Where'd you go? Don't do that. Okay, good. Just making sure all the tech was working and I messed with the tech. Come on back in. Here we are. And in and out. You might even reach that back arm up overhead. Let that feel super delicious. Good. And as we come back around, turning that leg, your right leg, and then bringing it up and around. So now you're up and over your left in a little bit of a seated twist, okay? And in this seated twist, we are not going to push our way into a twist. We're going to really gently lengthen the spine, open, twist toward the right. So you don't even have to use your hands. Sometimes as soon as we get our hands into the mix, we want to push or force something to happen. So really nice, gentle. And if you place your right hand down behind you, your right arm becomes like a second spine, just giving you more length. Maybe left hand comes to right shoulder. Just allowing yourself to feel length and twist. And then we unwind here, right leg this time, invitation to go long with your right leg. And then a few sweeping motions, greeting your right leg. First time we've lengthened the leg. We've been sitting for a little while here. You can use your hands, finding some sweeping movements up and down, all the way down to your foot. You can greet your right foot, give it a little gentle massage. And then if you'd like, opening this up and finding a little side body reach towards your right leg. And again, just like our twist, we're going to just let the arms be free so we're not trying to force anything to happen. If your left hip lifts, that's just fine. We're just allowing range of motion to be very smooth and easy. No pushing into a stretch. No goal to achieve. And then as we lift up and around, I'll invite you to plant your left hand down and lift your hips for a moment. Let's feel that freedom. And settling back down, one more reach over your right leg before we take this whole sequence into side two. So coming back for a moment, you might even come back for a brief moment into cobbler's pose, feet together, legs like a little butterfly. You can bounce them for a moment. Maybe lean forward over your legs, back out. That feels so good. And then we'll find all of this in side two, starting with ankle rotations, foot around your ankle, one direction, and the other way. And shin around your knee. And the opposite direction. Nice wide hip circles. Going in both directions there. Maybe you draw it all in just a little bit tighter, finding some rock the baby side to side. Maybe you hold your shin or hold foot and knee. And then from here, turning left leg, left knee towards right foot. And we'll find that deer variation on this side. And this time, perhaps feeling just naturally drawn to turn in and out toward the right. Your left hip can lift and lower. Maybe your left arm comes into the dance. into this interdependence that we're doing, feeling the interconnection of your body, all of these joints of your body, connectors, feeling the interconnection between your individual self and this community and this world that we share. Good. And then from here, left leg all the way around, up and over. So we're in a setup for a seated Lord of the Fish pose, Matsyasana. And you can allow yourself to turn toward the left, nice open arms. Maybe if you do set your left fingertips down to the earth, left arm becomes a kind of second spine. And that twist is just supported by your core, nothing forced. Maybe right hand to left shoulder. And then unwinding here, left leg long this time, and finding a few sweeping motions. Reading your left leg, maybe your left foot. Hello down there. You can always bend your knee in these, really just make it your own. Be thanking your left leg for all that it does for you. Right? Our legs and feet that carry us through the world. Perhaps opening this up into a side body stretch over towards the left. Come in and out here. And remembering that we're not trying to make anything happen, going with the flow. Gorgeous. And then right hand can come to the earth if you'd like, lifting your hips. A little opening stretch as we lift off the earth, feeling those points of contact, and then down and around. And one more greeting of your left leg. Gorgeous. As we come back up to sitting, I'll turn to side of my mat for this one. Invitation is to plant your feet about mat's width apart or so, and then allowing your knees to drop one side and the other. So we found deer on one side at a time before. Now we're going back and forth. And it's up to you. You can use your hands here for support. Maybe one arm reaches overhead to each side. And as many of you know, I like the look ma no hands variation of this one. So you can play with that too. It involves a little bit more core stability as you go from side to side. And the more that you lean back in the center, the more that you'll challenge that core. But allow it to be playful. Again, not goal-oriented. Gorgeous. And then when you feel ready, coming to center, and I'll invite you to come all the way down onto your back. Once you arrive on your back, we're going to key into that core strength a little bit more here as well. And so as you come in, hands behind your neck, and inhaling here, and exhaling, simple core lift. Inhaling down, just repeating that a few times here to get a sense of how this feels in your body. Inhale as you lower, exhale as you lift. I love to bring these core strengtheners into our practice to help us balance and stabilize when we come into our standing practices, but also it's a beautiful way to tap into your will center, your solar plexus, third chakra. A little bit of tapas, heat, discipline. Good. And you can stay just like this in this very simple core, or if you want to add on, lowering down for a moment, simply to lift your legs up into a tabletop, inhaling down, and exhale as you lift here. Good. Just a few more like this. And we're going to add on a new variation after this next one. Lowering down through your upper body. And I'm going to invite you to reach down and grab a hold of the outer edges of your mat and just kind of pull down firmly. So it gives your hands a little bit of an anchor, gives your lower body a bit of an anchor with your arms down by your hips. And then one leg at a time, lowering one heel and lifting back up and switching sides. So we're going from this kind of little supine tabletop legs and just alternating heel drops. And nice and slow, connecting to your breath. Inhale as you lower the heel. Exhale to lift. And see if you can sense into the lower core muscles that engage in this particular action. And you might find that you want a little more, in which case you reach your heel long and then come back up. So you extend the leg long, hover, and then lift back to table. So you might try a few of those. Good. And then our final round here, invitation to take your hands behind your head one more time, and we'll find a cross crawl. So in a sense, putting that all together. Inhale, center, exhale, elbow comes toward knee. Now we get into the obliques as well. And maybe you're extending that leg long. You can always go to a previous variation if it gets too challenging. And as we cross crawl or cross midline, you have this opportunity to really find some brain and body integration here. Good. One more each side. And then coming back through to center when you feel even. This time, invitation to place your hands behind your knees and a few rock and rolls up and down your spine. And eventually rocking all the way up and over into a tabletop. And when you arrive here, some free flow once again, just allowing yourself to move in any way that serves you, especially as we've done spinal movements, joint rotations, core awakening. How does your body take all of that input and guide your own healing movements? Good. And you can stay with your free form movement, or you might join for this next round of guided movement. So, if you are coming along for the ride, I'll invite you to send your left leg long. And with your left leg long behind you, toes tucked under onto the ground, just a few rocks here, kind of rocking onto your left toes and just feeling as you rock forward and back. You might get a little calf stretch in there. Good. And then from here, it's a little tricky transition, so hopefully I'll explain this well enough. We're going to turn toward the left. So now we've got right leg and your shin can follow behind you now. We've got right leg in a tabletop and left leg out to the side, yeah? From this shape, I'll invite you to take your left arm up and above and exhale, left arm underneath, but we're not staying there. We're going to move with the breath like a fern opening to the sun. Inhale and exhale as you draw it all inward. Finding your flow in motion. And then letting your left arm come to the earth, walking your hands toward your right knee and then lifting up. So now we will come into a gate pose, leaning toward your left extended leg. A beautiful place to stay right here. Just finding that range of motion, side bodies once again. You might find a bend in your left leg, which means you've now going to turn your foot toward the left as well, in which point you can even rest your forearm onto your thigh and just find a few movements here in and out of the side body. Whichever variation you're taking, bent leg, long leg. Eventually, I'm going to invite you to come up and over, lengthening that left leg again here, right hand to the earth. And we'll find a supported side plank here, just reaching long through whole left side body into your left fingertips, feeling the joy, the spaciousness and whatever else comes through the openings that we offer, that we create. You might find a little free form here, forward and back, moving your left arm. And then eventually taking it back around into a tabletop. And here we are. Now you can stay just as you are. I'm turning on my mat so that I don't have my back to you when we come into side two. So as we come into side two, now it is your right leg that comes back behind and a few heel rocks, greeting your right calf, whatever else talks to you in this shape. And then from here, we're going to walk around to the right. Now it's right leg that's out to the side and your left shin can come back behind you like a tabletop. And right arm to lift. You can follow with your gaze and exhale under your body and through. And then moving fluidly with your breath, your rhythm. Okay. And when you feel complete there, planting right hand, walking towards your standing left leg here and lifting up for gate. And then leaning to the right, giving this side a little love. Maybe you find that variation with the bent right knee and You can even slide in and out of the side body a little bit, your hips. Good. And then from here, up and around, supported side plank as left hand comes down, right arm up overhead, and then feeling into this shape, making it yours. Good. And then eventually we meet in tabletop. I'm going to turn back around to the front of my mat and just finding yourself back into this shape. Now, our next little kind of rather short series is just getting into some of the joints once again in the lower body. We're going to start with ankles and toes, coming into toes pose, tucking your toes under and walking yourself back so that you're placing more of your weight onto the heels of your feet. And that may be very different for every person here, right? Your feet, the fascia of your feet might have stories to tell in these spaces. So just gently, slowly walking yourself up. You might come all the way up right over your feet. You might reach down and spread your toes a little bit wider. And sending your breath right into sensation, wherever that is for you. You can wiggle around in this shape, find stillness. We're not here too long. Good, and then we're going to come right on out. Leaning forward again, untucking your toes, maybe giving your tops of the feet a little tap on the mat. And then if it feels okay for you, sitting back onto your heels once again, this time with your toes back. Not only is this compressing for your knees, but also the tops of your ankles. And this can be a lot. And you might be kind of up here and just working your way into those sensations, but finding just that tolerable edge, right? And some of you might want a little more, in which case you might lift one knee and then the other. Some of you might even lean back and lift both knees at the same time. And we're not here long either. So whatever you found, you found. You can stay longer if you'd like. Otherwise, we're coming forward, tucking toes under once again. This time we walk back, lifting the knees. And you might even find a little bounce here. A little bit of a bounce. Knees, low back, sacrum. And this is tight squat variation. I'll invite you to take your knees down, feet wide, and then this time we come into a wide squat variation. So you can take your kind of time finding that shape, getting your feet wider. And then in that wider squat variation, you can begin to just find some organic movement side to side, lifting and lowering through your heels. And for my friends here who have cranky knees, right? If your hips or knees are not so content in that shape, come up higher. So in this one, we can modify it by lifting the hips and doing a higher dance in this. So whichever one you're taking, just a few more breaths. And you might notice that one knee can lower, the other lifts. One heel lifts, the other lowers. It can feel so good on the low back. I know it feels really good in my low back right now. Ah, beautiful. And then from here, I'll invite you to walk your hands forward, begin to lift your hips, and we're going to make our way into our first downward facing dog. And first time in this shape, make it yours. Walk it out, lifting and lowering, alternating heels. Good. Maybe lifting both heels, bending both knees.
You might even explore a little side to side action, letting your hips go to one side, heels drop to that same side, and just feeling the side bodies in this shape as we go through our journey of belonging, reclaiming each area of your very own body for yourself, while simultaneously sensing that interconnection to something larger than you. Okay. And then from downward facing dog, I will invite you to walk your feet forward, finding a rag doll, allowing your knees to be nice and deeply bent. Palms can come to the earth, head can be heavy. And your variation, if you want hands to stay on earth, great. Maybe you want pinkies to elbow creases. You might sway a little side to side. And then I'll invite us to take a journey to standing. This particular one is really lovely for pulling our core back online. And so keeping your feet about hip widths or so apart, I'll invite you to take a long spine, deeply bent knees, long spine. Just feel that shape for a moment. You can draw your low core in, feeling that support. Maybe you draw your arms back behind you and just feeling, again, deeply bent knees, long spine, core on board. Maybe you change the lever of the, of the movement of the shape by drawing your arms forward. And in this shape, which whether your arms are back or forward will be more of a challenge. Imagine that you have a yoga block between your thighs and you're squeezing it and you're simultaneously resisting by pushing your heels away from each other. And it's a little play of opposites here. Okay, and then pressing feet downward, long spine, coming all the way up to standing. Let your palms come down by your sides. New relationship to gravity, and you might wiggle it out. All of that that we've done so far, close to the earth. And here we are standing. Ah, good. From here, I will invite you to draw your arms up overhead and find a little side body once again into one side. Through center, inhale. Exhale, side two. We'll do that one more time. Your variation, whatever arm position you'd like to take, making it yours, letting your gaze fall where it feels right for you. Side two. And then through center. And this time I'll invite you to take a little flexion of your spine. Close it all in. Forearms might come toward each other. Tuck your tail. And then open it up. Maybe take your hands clasped at your sacrum behind your back. You can widen your stance a little and lifting through your heart. On an exhale, I'll invite you to fold forward once again over your legs. If your hands are clasped, maybe allowing them to stay that way, lifting your arms up overhead, Yogi Mudra, head bows below heart. And then exhale, hands by way of sacrum to earth. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, planting your hands, and I'll invite you to make your way to the earth, stepping feet back, rolling through plank and lowering knees, chest, and chin, and then all the way to your belly to earth. We'll find some rolling cobras here. And if you'd like to take a moment to rock your hips a little from side to side, and then sending your hips, your legs firmly into the mat as you lift through upper body. And you get to choose how much lift of your heart, how much weight in your hands, staying in connection to yourself, your breath. Perhaps inhale as you lift and exhale to lower, moving with your rhythm. One more here. And I'll invite you through tabletop, a brief moment, hips above knees, to walk your hands forward, puppy dog. And then progressing back through table to downward facing dog. Second time in downward facing dog, and an opportunity to notice what may have changed, what's opening, what are you aware of now? And then gazing forward towards the front of your mat, however you would like to get there. A long, slow walk, a hop, whatever serves you today. Inhale, finding a halfway lift. Exhale to fold. And inhale all the way to standing. And exhale, samastitihi for a moment, palm to palm in front of your heart, coming to stand in stillness. Samastitihi, equal standing, sama, same, equal standing between your feet, and perhaps a prayer for equanimity. The ability to stand in the middle of all of that. Softening, releasing that prayer. Inhale, sweeping arms up overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands plant, and your choice, you can move back through to earth for cobra, or some of you might want to move into a low plank, rolling over your toes, lifting for upward facing dog. And exhale, we meet in downward facing dog, whatever variation you've chosen, including none at all, no vinyasa. From your downward facing dog, once again, greet, meet, know what's here for you. And I will invite a little new flow here. Inhale, sending your right leg back and behind. And exhale, forward and through into a low lunge. First time in this shape. You can use your blocks if you like. I certainly like that in a little bit of free form exploration. As you get to know left hip flexor, right hamstring, what's present in your body, what does the lunge offer for you today. You get to totally make it yours in this free exploration.
And you can stay with your own free flow, or I'll guide you through a few options here. Option one is I'm going to invite you to take a slightly shorter stance, and we'll come into a pyramid shape. Now, a pyramid, you can see there's a nice triangular shape of my legs. You can always keep a little micro bend, especially in the front knee, protecting your joints, especially if you tend to hyperextend. And then we work here, and blocks can make this really nice and friendly, just to greet legs in this shape. Okay, you can find whatever variation if you want to bring your torso a little closer to your right leg, but only meeting the edge of sensation where you can still really find breath and presence. Good. Next invitation is to send your left leg a little further back again. And with deeply bent knees in this lunge, I'll invite you to walk your hands off toward the left. So we're in what we're going to call ostrich. So I've got a lunge like a warrior two lower body and a downward dog in the upper body. Let your head be heavy, hanging low. Shoulders heavy. Let your voice go. A sigh, a sound, a breath. And then walking your hands back towards your right leg, and you might use your block for this. We're going to come from the ground into an extended side angle. So hand onto the floor or the block, right hand on floor or block, left hand can come to your left hip as you roll open your left shoulder here. And then from that shape, you might lift left arm over to ceiling or overhead. Just feeling, once again, the side body. We've got a little theme going on here. Final invitation of this lunge series is perhaps to take your block even a little higher and then to move from the ground up into a trikonasana, a triangle. And again, if you tend to hyperextend, keep a little micro bend in your right knee. You can start simply by rolling left shoulder open and then maybe taking left arm overhead. And even in this shape, we've got this triangle home base, this foundation in the legs, but you might explore movement through your left arm, overhead, and back. Letting your breath fill into the intercostals of your ribs and your shoulder and the side of your neck. Good. And then we're going to come back down around into the lunge, planting both hands, stepping right foot back. There you are, downward dog. And what a fun place to feel left and right sides of your body. Left and right legs might feel a little different. And then lifting left leg back and behind and forward and through. And as you greet your low lunge, perhaps a few breaths here, in and out, your free flow, getting to know right hip flexor, left hamstring, making it totally yours, whatever serves you, guided by your sensations. And you can stay with your free flow or follow along if you'd like, shortening the stance and greeting pyramid. And it can be nice to have wide feet here, at least hip widths apart in terms of the width of the mat. Can be nice to take your blocks nice and tall here and exploring your way into pyramid. Sometimes it can feel good to take that left hip back just a little bit. Again, protecting your knees as needed. Maybe you lower your torso down a little bit. And then from here, stepping your right foot back further. So we've got that nice warrior two base of the legs, and then turning your torso toward the right to come into that variation of ostrich. It's again like a downward dog upper body and warrior two lower body. Head heavy. Stick your tongue out if you like. Scrunch your face. Sigh something out. Ah. Hmm. And when you feel ready, if you'd like, walking back towards your left leg, maybe a block under your left hand, and shifting from ground up into extended side angle. So here it can be helpful to take right hand onto right hip as you roll the right shoulder upward. You can stay right here or arm overhead or arm reaching in line with your side body here. A few breaths, getting to know the shape, making it yours. And then maybe finding your way into Trikonasana from the ground up, lengthening through your left leg. Maybe that block supports you in a new way. And then perhaps re-extending, lifting through right shoulder, right arm. And you might find a little movement here as well. Like you're waving in the wind, a seagrass, one of many grasses all interconnected on the seafloor, tied together in our roots. And then slowly, when you feel ready, making your way back to downward facing dog. And this time I'll invite a brief pause, knees to earth, hips to heels, if that's comfortable for you. Finding your way either into child's or if you prefer that puppy dog variation, if that's more restful. And this is a little intermission rest. We'll have another standing flow before we make our way back onto the mat for our final resting series. Allowing yourself to regroup, reflect. Notice what's present for you now. Perhaps asking yourself what you need next. And then when you feel ready, called, if you feel ready, called, I'll invite you to come back through table. Maybe curl your toes under and moving through downward facing dog. We're going to make our way to the front of the mat, however you'd like to get there. You might even give yourself a little pounce, a little jump forward, totally up to you. As you arrive towards the front of your mat, we'll find a halfway lift. A forward fold. And an opportunity to once again come all the way up to standing. So very close to the earth flow today. You feel that we've not spent a whole lot of time in these standing shapes. So when we arrive here, we just need to accommodate it for a moment. That's what it's like to be that tall. Yeah, good. Okay, we're going to come into a variation of Utkatasana. I'll invite you to do this with feet hip widths or so apart, maybe even slightly wider, bending through the knees, our kind of awkward chair pose, awkward standing lightning bolt shape here. So you can find the lift of your upper body even as you bend the knees. And in this one, I'm really going to invite you to send your tail feathers back, really allowing that lower back to wake up in the shape. And in inhaling, drawing your arms up, but we'll take a variation. Exhale for a moment, draw your elbows back, heart forward. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, elbows back, heart forward. One more time, inhale. Exhale, elbows back. And we're changing it up. Inhale, arms lift. This time, exhale, arms back, palms reaching back, palms down, okay? And we'll find our little parachute transition. Some of you have done this with me before. Inhale, sweeping arms up. Exhale, back. Inhale, left leg is going to join us. Lifting, little, little, I don't know, crouching tiger, hidden dragon moment. Inhale, little karate kid. The right leg joins and exhale back to the earth. Okay, we'll find that again. Inhale, left leg to lift. And exhale. Inhale, right leg. And exhale. Now listen carefully. Inhale, left leg comes back or comes up, and exhale, now it goes back. So we're going to step slowly, slowly, slowly through a little airplane transition into a crescent lunge. So right leg forward, left leg back. And you might take a few moments here, just greeting this shape, finding your balance. You can widen your base. And then maybe bringing arms up overhead. Good. From here, we're going to open to the left, coming into a five-pointed star. A little footwork here, turning both toes out a little bit. And exhale into horse or goddess, depending on your tradition or your preference at the moment. Bending both knees, a little wide squat. We'll find a polarity twist here, weighting into your hands just enough to roll one shoulder in and lift. Exhale the other shoulder in and inhale. Two more times each direction. Good. Again. Lovely. Through center, inhale, five-pointed star. Listen carefully. Exhale, warrior two to the back. So now left leg in front and just a different shape through the upper body. Right heel grounded in the warrior. Maybe your gaze over your left fingertips. Feeling the strength of your legs, the buoyancy perhaps of your upper body. And inhale, we'll lift into a reverse shape for a moment. And exhale all the way to the earth. Left foot back to meet the right. And we'll find all of that on side two. We're going to bounce forward into the new front of your mat. Inhale, finding a halfway lift. Exhale to fold. Feet can be nice and wide as we come into our Utkatasana, our awkward seated chair, our lightning bolt pose. You might lift your arms up overhead. And exhale, sweep your arms back. Inhale, it's right foot that joins. And exhale to the earth. Inhale, left foot lifts. And exhale. Inhale, right. Exhale to the earth. Inhale, left. And to the earth. And this time, right lifts. And we take this in a slow flow transition, sending your right leg back and slowly settling toes to the earth. If you didn't arrive just the way you wanted to, take your time, find your base, maybe hands to hips. And then from here, perhaps lifting your arms up, crescent. Even this is a balanced shape. Notice what's required of you, in you. And then invitation to open, five-pointed star. A brief visit into goddess, this time traditional goddess arms, bending at the elbows, at the knees. And inhale, sweep, five-pointed star. And exhale, warrior two, back over your right leg this time. Finding your gaze, your breath. Arriving in intentionality. Always powerful to tune into why you came today. What inspired you? And then a brief moment to reverse, inhale and exhale to the earth. Palm, palm, stepping back for a moment. Maybe a vinyasa through if you choose. And downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, I'm going to invite you to come forward once again through plank and maybe through knees, chest, chin, making your way to the earth. We'll have a little floor integration flow here of capstoning and integrating our practice. And I'll invite you from this belly down shape to find a Sphinx pose by drawing your forearms down, elbows underneath your shoulders. And you can take a moment to tune into your lower body, really sensing and feeling your legs back behind you. And if Sphinx irritates or activates discomfort in your low back, a lovely way to work with that is to engage the low belly, lift through your pelvis, your hips a little bit, really feel that strength of the low belly as you slowly resettle hips back to earth, lengthening heart forward, and you've created some more space perhaps. So you can stay in this very symmetrical Sphinx. If you want to join in a little bit of a hip and psoas release, I'll invite you to bend through your left knee and left ankle. So we've got a little 90-degree shape in the left leg. Right toes, I'll invite you to curl under once again and give a little bit of that heel rock. Different shape. You can perhaps surrender a little bit of your left hip to the earth and allowing your body to be rocked by the action of your right foot. And then untucking your right toes, maybe planting your left hand and begin to turn over your left shoulder, gazing toward your left knee and foot. And you can come in and out of that twist, really breathing all the way down into the low belly. You can imagine sending your breath into the pelvis or your pelvic floor, your tailbone, your sacrum, your hips. Good. And then from here is a little fun and tricky transition, but I think you'll follow me okay. I'm going to invite you to send your left arm forward, planting your hand on the ground so that your right arm can slide underneath the space you've just created. And you might even let your head rest on your hand. You can, or your forearm, you can kind of bend that arm back a little bit. And then from here, freeing your left arm up and maybe back and around, coming into a supine twist. Doesn't have to be your deepest twist. And it's okay if your shoulder floats a little bit here. Maybe your knee even lifts up a little bit. Just sending your breath again into low belly, psoas, pelvis, pelvic floor. And we unwind the way that we came in, rolling back around, planting your left hand, right arm unwinds, left leg lengthens. Maybe a little shimmy shake of your hips side to side before finding all of that on side two, bending right leg 90-90, and left toes give the tuck and the rock. And very often, and certainly in my body, left and right sides have different stories to tell. So just noticing what's present for you here, untucking left toes, right hand can plant as you begin to twist toward the right. And coming in and out, sending your gaze past your shoulder, letting this feel organic and natural, and finding easefulness as much as possible. And eventually coming back around forward, right hand extends long, planting right hand, left arm under and through. And you can use left forearm as a pillow and maybe free the right arm back and behind.
And on this side, we're going to come out simply by flopping back around onto your back. You might, like me, have landed somewhere very far away from your mat. And if that's fun and comfortable and a good place to be, you can just stay right there, or you might scoot yourself back over, arriving back onto your magic carpet, your yoga mat. And then just a final little spinal integration, drawing your knees in. You can hug everything in tight. You can tuck your nose in. Curl, 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 contract before letting it all go and making your way into a final resting shape. Arms by your sides, shoulders soften from your ears. And just like any other shape, you can wiggle around until you find your comfortable spot. And then perhaps letting the movement go. Softening what doesn't need to continue to be engaged. In your eyes, your jaw, your tongue, softening. Your throat, neck, shoulders, heavy to the mat. Letting go of any unnecessary tension in your arms, your upper arms, elbows, lower arms, hands, fingers. Upper back, lower back, pelvis, legs, hips, upper legs, knees, calves and shins, ankles, feet and toes. Softening and releasing any unnecessary tension. It takes great courage to let go of your armor, let that down. I'm going to invite you to reside, remain, receive. I'm moving simply to return to our poem, which I'd love to revisit before we move out of Shavasana. Poem called Belonging by Rosemary Watola Tromer. And if it's true that we are alone together. The way blades of grass are alone but exist as a field. Sometimes I feel it, the green fuse that ignites us, the wild thrum that unites us, an inner hum that reminds us of our shared humanity. Just as 35 trillion red blood cells join in one body to become one blood. Just as 136,000 notes make up one symphony. Alone as we are, our small voices weave into the one big conversation. Our actions are essential to the one infinite story of what it is to be alive. When we feel alone, we belong to the grand communion of those who sometimes feel alone. We are the dust that hopes,
the rising of dust, a thrill of dust, the dust that dances in the light with all other dust, the dust that makes the world. And gathering all of those specks of dust back into yourself, all of those red blood cells, all of those notes that create the symphony of you, gathering as you recollect yourself in preparation perhaps to returning to sitting, only if that's what serves you right now. Wiggling fingers, toes, maybe rocking to one side. Eventually, in your own timing, pressing back up. Perhaps returning to sensing, gazing around at our collective here, our community. And returning one last time to yourself, perhaps even thanking yourself for showing up, your willingness to engage in a courageous practice. With gratitude. Namaste.